Hey guys, this is Robert with RC1 Hobbies, and I wanted to shoot a video on the comparison between the Losi 8ight Nitro buggy and the Traxxas Slayer Pro 4x4 Nitro short course truck. Stick around. Alright, this video is going to be doing some obvious comparisons. The controller is a Spectrum DX2E for the Losi. Basic controller, relatively inexpensive. 2-channel. You can get these usually around 50 bucks or less with a radio and receiver. On the other side, we have the Traxxas TQI, Bluetooth enabled. The TSM system built into it for stability control. So you can see the extensive price difference. That one's around 50 bucks. This one probably around 125 or so. Give or take a few dollars from where you're buying it. So those are big differences in the controller. Having flexibility to do programming and stuff, which is kind of nice. Obviously the Losi is a 8th scale buggy racing chassis without all the upgrades, but it does have some characteristics, obviously, with the chassis being a racing chassis. Strong A-arms that are for racing, nitro engine, a 0.21 for the Losi, and Slayer is a 0.20, so they're about the same size motor. So it's short course. You can see the obvious difference there. This is a 10th scale, but it's on a large chassis that's for the e-Revo, which is, they call it a 10 scale monster truck, but it's really more like an 8th scale. So that's where it can be, a little bit of a conversation piece for how big it is or isn't. So you can see by way of comparison, they're the same size, really. Now you see on the Traxxas side, there are a few differences. The shock location in a horizontal position, more e-Revo with push rod rocker arms, which supposedly gives it a little smoother response. Steel camber links, push rods, and steering linkage. Same thing in the back, steel. The Losi has plastic non-adjustables. These are adjustable. I mean, the alignment links, they're adjustable. So there's a plus here. And by way, I forgot to mention, this was retails at $349. This retails at $419 now. Now those prices are obviously always changing, but I got this $419.99, $349.99. So this one has more features than that one. That one's your basic racing model, and that's what we're pointing out. The difference is why you pay more. Obviously Traxxas, the largest brand in RC. The plus on the Losi for something that the Slayer does not have is steel drive shafts. The Losi has steel drive shafts. Main centerline drive shafts and the CVD drive shafts are all steel. So the Traxxas has plastic. This is all plastic. CVDs and centerline are plastic. So there's an advantage over there. The engine is very small margin larger. I have not driven them. They're not even broken yet, so I don't know yet the response. Another positive or negative, how you look at it, the Losi has a pull start, so you don't have to use a electric starter. You don't have to worry about having a battery charge for that. You don't have to worry about it breaking. I actually work at a hobby shop, so I had a guy come in with one of these that I don't think it was a month old, and the starter already went out. So I had to replace the starter, and I don't recall exactly how much it was, if it was 50 bucks or what. So you can look at it both ways. The starter's easy, but yet it can break and then you can't start it. This one, no starter needed, you just pull start it. Now, it can be a problem when trying to get a Nitro to start. If it's not starting correctly, the power starter is so much nicer than trying to pull constantly. So it's one of those relative, depending on who you are, what you like and don't like. So speaking on that manner, The Easy Start, this is an electric starter that is mounted on the motor. So all you need is this battery operated gizmo here, which I've never had before. You put it in here, this is the battery, and it's push to start, and automatically ignites the glow plug. So here's another feature. You don't need a glow plug igniter for this. You don't, because normally on the Losi you'll put the glow plug igniter here and start it, pull start it. You don't need that on the Slayer because it has a wire here connected to the electronics that are powered here. Once you push that trigger, it lights the glow plug and turns the starter at the same time. So it's good and bad how you look at that. That's totally in your perspective. Another thing is the tires. These are all-terrain tires on the Slayer. These are off-road tires on the Losi. So if you're running on pavement, you're going to burn these up pretty quick. Not so with the Slayer. They'll last longer, and we'll see. I typically don't like to run any off-road on-road, and these you can run either way. It's not a big deal. So that's kind of an advantage if you're going all-terrain versus if you're going all-terrain with this, you will wear these tires out on the pavement. So if you're just going to race, you're fine. You don't have to worry about all that. Now we're going to turn the vehicle around here and show you something else that can be considered a minus for the Losi and a plus for the Traxxas Slayer. Is the exhaust pipe. The tailpipe dumps out the exhaust in near the front axle, and when you have exhaust from a two-stroke, oil comes out. So you're going to get oil on your wheel and on your rear end here, your swing arms and such on the body. The Traxxas Slayer has a rear discharge, which is nice. So all the exhaust and the oil will come out here and will not get on the body. So that's a plus. Also, the resonator here is chrome. It looks real sharp. Whether it performs well or not comparatively, we will see after breaking them in and running them. Another thing that the Slayer has that the Losi 8 does not have is a 2-speed transmission. So we'll see. Again, that's a relative plus or minus, because the transmission, you got 2 speeds, can go out, quicker than a 1-speed transmission. You probably never ever have a problem with this one running it normally. I have never had a 2-speed transmission, so that will yet to be determined. There's also a lot of surface area here with different crevices for dirt to get stuck in, and the rear end to get stuck on, hit things. Whether that is or not the case, we'll see. The Losi has a smooth undercarriage, so that's really nice. Nothing, to get stuck on. And I think that does it. Big bumper on the Slayer. Well, that's really nice for impacts. Small bumper on the Losi. Big bumper in the back. Wing versus this. This is more of a racer model, so that's why it's not going to have all that big bumper stuff. This is more just to play around and have fun. So that's it, guys. If you have any comments or other differences that come to your mind, I didn't really get into detail on trying to look at everything and make it specific, just for fun. So thanks for watching. Until next time, we'll see you. Hey guys, I wanted to give a little update and opinion on my break-in. I just did break-in procedures on both of those at the same time, so I was able to compare them head to head on their break-in procedures and their performance. I have to say I was quite impressed with the Traxxas break-in and performance. It seemed, and the manual, actually the manual was very easy to read, easy to understand, step by step. It was weird. With the Losi, it seemed to be the extreme opposite. Hardly, not that many details in the owner's manual, and especially the after run procedure. Traxxas was very thorough with the after run procedure. The Losi after run procedure didn't even exist. I didn't find it in the manual. If I'm mistaken, maybe I'll find it later, but I didn't find anything in the Losi after run procedures There was really only a few pages on the Losi, the whole manual. It had like one page on break-in, very short and not detailed on breaking it in. So I wasn't really happy with the Losi. The other reasons I was not happy with the Losi was the simple, ready-to-go buggy. It was not really set up. I noticed immediately the steering did not turn equally right and left. It turned right better, more, a sharper right turn, and it wasn't very slight. It was a big deal. The right turn was very tight, the left turn was very big, and the servo was very weak and slow, and that was obvious. I mean, it was weird. It was just so weak and slow. I'll probably end up calling Losi about it. And the actual movement, the radius of the movement of the steering servo was, I don't even think it went 90 degrees. It barely moved. I checked the dual rate and everything, and to my experience, the servo didn't move a whole lot. So even if I wanted to make it sharper, I tried to disconnect the servo horn and reconnect it and did the steering trim, and there was just not enough movement in the servo to get that steering to work properly or appropriately. Setup just wasn't really ready to go, and to start it, and it didn't even idle. I mean, as soon as I tried to start it, it wouldn't idle. From the brand new, the first start, it wouldn't even idle. I had to actually hold the controller and hold the truck down and pull the starter so the truck wouldn't take off, because I had to give it throttle to get it to start. And then when I let off the throttle, it would stop. It wouldn't even run. It just shut off. So I had to do some linkage work, and I tried to unscrew the throttle or the idle set screw, and it did nothing. It didn't make the carburetor change at all. Also, when I did get it to idle and I went to run it, anytime I applied the brake, it shut off. So I'm out here running it. I tried to apply the brake, it would shut off. I had to run over there, get it, bring it back, start it, try it again. So I basically couldn't use the brake at all with the Losi, or it shut the buggy off. The Traxxas Slayer was perfect. I mean, as soon as I put the fuel in it and powered it, it ran. It was great. It idled. I gave it throttle, it took off, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. I did the break-in procedures. It had like a 5-step break-in procedure, 5 tanks of fuel. The Losi only had 3, and the Losi said to do the same thing 3 times. The Traxxas Slayer was progressive. It was very nice, slowly breaking it in. It was really nice, easy to use. It even told you that it might start to idle higher, which it did after so as soon as it started to idle up, I adjusted the idle screw and it went back down perfectly. And so the Slayer, no problems. After the 5th fuel tank, when I shut it off, the glow plug burned up. So that's a minor thing. They actually gave you an extra glow plug with the truck. So all I had to do was install the new glow plug and it started right back up. Losi had nothing like that. Didn't have an extra glow plug. I wasn't impressed at all with the Losi, and I've had good experience with Losi in the past. But I have noticed that they tend to cater toward the serious hobbyist and not the beginner. So I'm not really impressed with Losi as far as this ready-to-run version. So I understand why the price is so low. It's because they given you stripped down nothing with it. So that's my opinion of when I compared them head to head. So it was easy to compare. I mean, it was like breaking in the Traxxas Slayer and then boom, try to do the Losi, and just unbelievable how difficult it was. So I can, based on my experience so far, I haven't ran them after the break-in period's over, but the Traxxas Slayer has been great, running just like it should, accelerating, shifting, doing everything it should. So I'm real happy with it. And the Losi, I just got to spend some more time with it and maybe call Horizon about that servo with just hardly any movement. So that's my take on it. So that's just my opinion. So that's the way I feel. So I appreciate you guys checking it out, and until next time, we'll see you.